I'm here in Cairo. Time for the news bulletin. My name is Amal Mukhtar. I have all the pleasure to be joined with my dear colleague Lamia Abdesattar. Hello, Lamia.
Hello, Amal. Thank you so much. And dear viewers, we'll start our news bulletin with headlines. President Sisi meets Somali president on bilateral ties and regional developments. Foreign Minister Abdelati, UK's Lamy chair Egyptian-British Partnership Council. And Israeli occupation continues, striking Gaza in ceasefire breach.
Welcome back. The news in detail. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi received today visiting Somali President Hassan Sheikh Mahmoud. The meeting have touched on enhancing bilateral cooperation along with a number of regional and international issues of mutual concern. After the talks, the two leaders have signed a joint political declaration for promoting bilateral ties to strategic partnership.
Minister of Foreign Migration and Egyptian Expatriates Affairs Badr Abdelati received today British Foreign Secretary David Lamy, where they chair the second Egyptian-British Partnership Council. The minister said that Egypt was looking forward to support the strong partnership with Britain in different sectors. The council went into a detailed discussion on boosting bilateral ties in the economic, trade and investment fields, with Abdelati stressing that Egypt attaches a priority to increasing the volume of trade exchange and direct British investments in the national market. The two ministers also reviewed the successive political developments in the Middle East, particularly in Gaza and Syria, along with the situations in Sudan and Somalia. Featuring prominently at the meeting was also the Red Sea and water security, along with cooperation with African nations.
Well, Minister of Culture Ahmed Fouad Hanno today inaugurated the 65th edition of the Cairo International Book Fair.
The fair, held under the auspices of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, is organized under the slogan "Read was just a word at the start," is the largest of its kind at the Middle East and reflect Egypt's cultural heavyweight in the region. Details follow.
Minister of Culture Ahmed Fouad Hanno inaugurated on Thursday the 65th Cairo International Book Fair. The minister, along with a number of Egyptian and Arab dignitaries, made a tour at the fair's pavilions and publishing houses. The event, which witnessed the heavy visitor turnout, is held under the auspices of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi at the International Exhibitions and Conferences Center in New Cairo from January 23rd till February 5th. It is organized with the participation of 80 Arab and foreign countries, with the Sultanate of Oman as the guest of honor for this edition. Ahmed Mustagir was chosen the character of the fair and writer Fatima El Madoul as the character of the children's book fair. In the course of the event, a million book initiative will be launched by the Ministry of Culture with the aim of spreading awareness among the nation's sons. Per the initiative, the ministry will distribute books on the ministries and institutions meant to build the Egyptian character, including the Ministry of Education and Vocational Training, the Ministry of Higher Education and Scientific Research, along with Al-Azhar University and the Egyptian Church. The fair will also host a number of writers, authors, and men of intellect for debate sessions on a set of political, social, and cultural issues. For the first time in the fair's history, Romania was announced as the guest of honor for the 75th edition and Qatar for the 85th edition.
Welcome back. Resuming our news bulletin. The Israeli occupation military have said today that it had killed an Islamic Jihad fighter in Gaza, the first such reported breach of a ceasefire agreement that went into effect since last Sunday. The Palestinian Health Ministry confirmed that one person was killed and said 4 others were wounded in an Israeli occupation airstrike in southern Gaza. The occupation military also said it had that in several areas of the Gaza Strip, its soldiers fired warning shots towards what it describes as masked suspects approaching Israeli occupation troops as part of the first phase of the ceasefire, which is intended to last for 42 days. Israeli occupation forces were withdrawing from densely populated areas in Gaza Strip.
A Palestinian official said hundreds of residents of the occupied West Bank's Jenin refugee camp were leaving their homes today, days into a large-scale Israeli occupation raid in the area. The Israeli occupation military launched an offensive in Jenin on Tuesday over allegations that it aims to uproot Palestinian resistance fighters in the camp and the city. The offensive began just days after a ceasefire deal paused fighting in the Gaza Strip. The Palestinian Health Ministry said that the Israeli occupation assault has killed at least 10 Palestinians and injured 40 more.
Yemen's Houthi group said it freed the crew of the merchant ship Galaxy leader after detaining them for more than a year in support to the ceasefire agreement in the Gaza Strip. UN Special Envoy for Yemen, Hans Jönberg, hailed the release of the crew, urging the Houthis to end all maritime attacks weeks after the Israeli occupation genocide war on the Gaza Strip. The Houthis began launching attacks on shipping in the Red Sea and Gulf of Aden in solidarity with the Palestinians.
The White House announced that U.S. President Donald Trump signed an executive order to once again designate Yemen's Houthi group a foreign terrorist organization. Trump's executive order said that Houthis had launched numerous attacks on the shipment movement in the Red Sea, as well as on U.S. ships. The order may take several weeks to come into effect. Former U.S. President Joe Biden, when it took over from Trump in 2021, removed the designation that Trump has signed near the end of his first term, a move that allowed the flow of humanitarian aid into Yemen.
U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio spoke over phone with Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman and reviewed a number of issues of mutual concern. Rubio and the Saudi Crown Prince have stressed on the strong partnership between the United States and Saudi Arabia in this critical time. The phone call covered recent developments in Syria, Lebanon and Gaza, with the U.S. Secretary of State expressed high appreciation to the Saudi efforts to restore peace and stability in the regions. They also discussed the U.S.-Saudi economic partnership and the opportunities to grow their economics in the variety of fields, including artificial intelligence.
Saudi Arabia's Foreign Minister Prince Faisal bin Farhan Al Saud visits Lebanon today in the first trip to Beirut by Riyadh's top diplomat in 15 years. Prince Faisal is expected to meet Lebanon's new President Joseph Aoun and its Prime Minister-designate Nawaf Salam. Both took office this month, marking a new phase for Lebanon that has been mired in financial crisis since 2019 and is now facing a reconstruction bill of billions of dollars. Earlier, Prince Faisal said Saudi Arabia regarded the election of a Lebanese president after a vacuum of more than 2 years as extremely positive.
Ukraine said that Russian drone and missile attack on the southern Ukrainian city of Zaporizhzhia today have killed 1 person and wounded 25 others. It also said Ukraine air defense systems had shot down 57 drones. The attack was the latest in an intensifying series of strikes on southern Ukraine, as both Moscow and Kiev vie for advantage in the early days of the U.S. President Donald Trump's administration. Meanwhile, Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky said that his country needs more sanctions against Russia, more air defense systems to protect his country's security.
Board of Business and Economy Deputy Prime Minister for Industrial Development, Minister of Industry and Transportation, Kamil al-Wazir, witnessed the signing of a memorandum of understanding between the holding company for maritime and land transportation and Abu Dhabi Ports Group. The memorandum aims at developing and upgrading the logistic zone at Alexandria Port. Minister al-Wazir said that agreement is part of his ministry's comprehensive strategy to develop the Egyptian maritime transport system with the aim to transfer Egypt into a regional hub for transportation, logistics and transit trade.
Well, Egypt's market opened higher today, the weekend session, amid purchases by local investors against sell-offs by Arab and foreign investors. The market capital of listed companies reached £2.253 trillion at the morning transactions that stood at £9.5 billion. The benchmark index EGX 30 rose 0.51%. The equal-weighted indices EGX 70 and the EGX 100 climbed 0.14% and the 0 and 0.16% respectively.
To the exciting world of sports, Egypt's national team kicked off their campaign in the main round of the 2025.
Manchester City have announced today that they have signed Egyptian forward Omar Marmoush from Bundesliga side. Well, with this, my dear viewers, we come to the end of the news bulletin. My name is Amal Mukhtar. I had all the pleasure to be joined with my dear colleague Lamia Abdel Sattar. Thank you, Lamia.
Thank you so much, Amal, and thank you everyone for watching.